Welcome, everybody, to your special Super Bowl Monday review edition of the Straub Bro Sports Show. As always, Big Bro tapping in with my guy, with my A1 since day one, Little Bro. Little Bro, how we doing?
It's a Monday, and it's a Super Bowl Monday, and so we're gonna get there. We're gonna grow into the show.
I want to address a couple things. First of all, to the both of you. If you have not figured out, shout out to Ronnie. If you guys and Ray, if you have not figured out that we're always late, that's what it is. And always the funniest part is, I blame Little Bro for a lot of that. Most days, not Big Bro anymore. You don't look at me like that. Shout out to everybody. Oos is in the building. Ray's in the building. Pops is in the building. Moms is in the building. Ronnie in the building. We got it going. So yeah, Super Bowl Monday sucks. So let's ride it out together. Drew, I'm going to be honest. We were both right, okay? However, in being right, this game sucked. Like, let's just put it out there. Congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks. They are, and go ahead, hit your music. 29-13 over the Patriots. Congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks. Drew, we're going to break this thing down into little segments. We're going to start with the Seahawks. We're going to then move to Sam Darnold. Then we're going to talk about the Patriots. Then we're going to talk about Drake Maye. And then we're going to flip it into a little bit of a questions I have for next year. And then we'll see where we're at. Pardon my sniffles. I'm just going to put that out there now. Get that out of the way. As Mom said it, yeah, this game was boring. However, appreciate you, Joey, for tapping in with us for the first time. I tapped in with obviously my Rapids guys a lot, and all my defense. Well, a lot of my defensive players loved it because they like a defensive game.
Yeah.
And shout out to Colby. Little Colby's in the building. He heard the theme song. He knows what's up. That's my guy right there. This was not an entertaining game from a neutral, offensive-loving fan perspective. However, there's a lot still to talk about in the breakdown with this game because it was a great defensive matchup. Both defenses played great. Just one, unfortunately, had to endure so much with such little out of their offense that they couldn't handle. So, Drew, we'll start with the Seattle Seahawks. First and foremost, congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks for winning the Super Bowl. Shout out to Kenneth Walker III and Drew. I thought of you. He become the first running back in the 21st century or whatever century we are in to win Super Bowl MVP. Go ahead.
I am so happy. One, it's not a quarterback, but two, man, did I want it to be the kicker.
I know.
If you would have broken the record, I think that would have sealed it. He just didn't get the opportunity, but it was close. I was very much hoping that they were going to give it to the kicker, but I'll take the running back.
I thought of you on both of those things. Number one, because your love of non-quarterbacks winning awards, and two, how close a kicker could have legitimately come to winning the Super Bowl MVP. Drew, The Seahawks had a game plan, which was to attack the left side of this Patriots offensive line, which was bad all year and was exposed on the biggest stage of them all. And what I also noticed, and something we can talk about too, is not only did they attack that left side, but then when the Patriots tried to adapt to it, they just brought pressure from the other side as well. They got to them all game. Shout out to Notre Dame, former Notre Dame defensive tackle Ryan Mills for getting his first sack of the year in the Super Bowl. Just an outstanding performance behind this defense. I'm going to get to the offense in a second. But first of all, we give the shout out to Kenneth Walker, but the second shout out, if not 1A, 1B, goes to this defense too.
No, I think you're absolutely right. But I want to make a comment where obviously, yeah, this game was a little boring in terms of action. This is kind of how Seattle has won a lot of their games this year, where obviously Sam Darnold, not, your top 5 quarterbacks in terms of slinging the ball, and the receiving core is not the best in the league, and the running game isn't great, although Kenneth Walker was amazing in the game. It takes them a while to get going and kind of get the offense moving, but they're able to do that and able to win because the defense is so suffocating. And that's exactly how this game went. And so when you look at it, right, obviously you said this left side of the Patriots offensive line struggled, and that was a key matchup that we talked about last week. It was more so, and you saw it in kind of when Drake Maye, especially kind of middle of the game before the Patriots offense got going a little too late, he had a little bit of time in the pocket. It's just that secondary is so good at just taking away all your options that it gives that defensive line for Seattle so much time to get to the quarterback that Drake Maye, while not the most mobile quarterback in the world, had to try to just maneuver back and forth. And as you saw, it really just didn't work out well.
I think he's and we're going to talk Drake Maye. I think he's an underrated runner only because we have so many elite guys in the league now. When we have Lamar Jackson's and we have Josh Allen's, you're gonna being mid looks a lot worse than it used to.
Yes.
But Drake is a talented runner. He's an athlete. He can get out in space, but this defense didn't allow that. They gave up a big run in the first quarter, and then that got shut down itself as well. They did the one thing that they hadn't done very much this year, as much, and we talked about it early, not early, but in the preview. This defense is a ball hawking defense, but they didn't get a lot of sacks. And they turned up and we talked about it. Maybe this was the time that they could do it, and they did it. They turned it up. Multiple sacks all over for the defensive line, and they did the one thing. And it's hard because, yeah, the Super Bowl is a great game and it's a fun game, but it kind of sometimes gets overhyped in terms of styles and how teams play, because it's the only time all year, obviously, we're watching only one game. That's why we care so much about Monday night and Thursday night and Sunday night when those games are one-off. But we talk about it all the time, and it gets highlighted in the Super Bowl all the time. If you can get pressure with 4 and 4 only, you are on a fast track to, if not winning the game, at least staying in it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And also, when we talked about this as well, the running games of these teams were going to be so important. And for Seattle to shut down that running game for most of the game until kind of at the end of the fourth quarter when they were just trying to contain, that helped so much on the defensive end as well, because you made New England one-dimensional. You made them have to throw the ball every single time they got on the field. And Drake Maye, while a really good quarterback, is still a really young quarterback. And to make him throw the ball that many times in such an important game against that great of a defense, you're setting yourself up for success defensively.
100%. I want to talk about Kenneth Walker for a second. Your Super Bowl MVP. Had the most yards in a Super Bowl since Terrell Davis. That was one of the greatest running back performances that we have seen, period, in a long time. That is the guy we have talked about. And you have to put in some of these extras. Yes, on its own, it was good. This is not a guy who's been an every down back. This is a guy who averages somewhere, I think it's between 11 and 15 carries a game. He ran up for 20 plus. He was their guy. And he was doing something during the game that I saw too that I actually liked. Obviously, he was, and it got compared to what Le'Veon Bell in his prime was able to do, where you would almost see him slow down, kind of just stop, let it develop, and take off. But there was a couple plays where he would break it to the outside, he'd get a couple extra crazy yards, and then you'd almost see him slow down because in his mind, you could see, I could get myself maybe 3 more. But if I just go out now, I give myself a breather for a second because I'm not coming out of this game. So there was a game plan there, and there was a mental game being played as well. And he won every part of that. And yeah, it is crazy how he came along, considering it just, we talked about it week in and week out with the Seattle team. The defense was suffocating. Sam Darnold was doing enough, but man, this running game is not good. And this was with a healthy Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. And so the switch got flipped. I mean, you can compare it to a goalie in hockey, or, just a batter or a pitcher who catches fire, or a Tyrese Halliburton from last year. The performances that Kenneth Walker has given this team in the playoffs has been something that should be talked about more than just this one game. Sorry,
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, he did the thing that running back coaches really kind of yell at you for doing, and that's bouncing it out to the outside. You want to lead, you want to, but it was successful. I really wanted him to get that last touchdown. It sucked it came back for holding. Also, shout out his dad has never gone to an NFL game because he hates crowds. Went to his first game in the Super Bowl and got us watch his son get an MVP. But kind of the overarching theme that I want to kind of touch on here, kind of as we're going into the more Sam Darnold aspect here and kind of our individual players.
And we can absolutely.
Seattle has done a thing that kind of resets, I want to say, how NFL teams, I think, are going to look at roster construction going forward. Because in these past couple of years, right, it is, you need explosive playmakers on the offense. You need top tier guys no matter what. And as long as you have a pretty okay defense, you're going to be fine. Seattle did a very much the opposite, where they made that and it was kind of how Indiana in the college football playoff did this as well. As long as your defense is secure and it is an elite defense, we can figure out the offense. You know what I mean? The offense is going to come along and bond and gel, but as long as that defense is number 1, number 2, maybe even number 3, you're going to get really, really far as long as you're well coached. And that's exactly what this team did. And to New England's credit, that's how they got this far as well for a lot of the parts as well. So shout out to Seattle for kind of going with all the Chiefs and the Ravens and the Bills. They went, hold on, let's get back to our fundamentals. Let's rely on our defense. And just as long as our offense can convert 75% of the time, we're going to be okay.
So I'm glad that you touched on the Indiana aspect, because I have a question for the end of this segment that will tie in with that game. So well done by you. That's a great point. And what Seattle was able to take advantage of this year on defense is different. Now, you can Coach Jamal. And I'm going to touch on Nate's question.
You're absolutely right.
The thing about this defense is it's not been talked about in the same aspect as, the Ravens defenses or Tampa Bay's or anything like that. And I understand why. But what they were able to take advantage of is something that we don't normally see on defense when we see on the offensive end. Those St. Louis Rams, they had an offense in a years where other teams didn't really have offenses like that, and they exploded. You can talk about the Patriots team with Randy Moss. We've just taken it to another level. The Kansas City Chiefs in that first run with Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill putting up points. We're different. This time it was the defense. In a league of offenses, in a league of you got to put up points, and you can't give a quarterback more than 25 seconds or he'll drive the length of the field on you and score. This Seattle team said, all right, we're going opposite. We're just going to build the best defense in the league because no one else has what we have. The thing about it is, the team that they played on the other side, you could argue, is the only other team in a league with a defense like that. And we saw it early on. And since you brought up Sam Darnold, maybe an unpopular opinion alert, Sam Darnold didn't play great, and he came out firing that ball around. And if one maybe hand this way and hand that way goes a different way, there's 2 early interceptions with the Patriots with the ball very deep in Seattle's in Seattle's territory. He didn't. The reason I'm proud of Sam Darnold, and one of my questions, and I'll use it now, but the thing I'm happy for Sam Darnold was he started the game, and you could see, because the odds even started to go up on his first half interceptions, that was the blueprint for Sam Darnold's going to lose us this game. Yeah. And instead, Sam Darnold said, oh, no, we're throw that blueprint away. I'm gonna control this enough. And he got an outstanding game out of his running back. And you need those. But he did what he was supposed to do to not allow this game to have the Patriots have a chance.
No, you're absolutely right. There was only 2 or 3 throws from Sam Darnold, and it was all of them were early, where I went, ooh, I wasn't sure. But that completely went away in the second half. You did not see a single missed throw. You didn't see one where it was a little too dangerous. It was all 2 guys who had space and everything like that. And whether that's because he didn't have to, because he played with the lead for most of the game, or just because they were able to just tell him, just play within your means, do everything like that. Regardless, 200 yards and a touchdown, that's all he needs. And that's all we talked about is that's all Sam Darnold needs to win a Super Bowl is 200 yards and a touchdown, because everything else is going to figure itself out.
And I know he was a little different in those teams, but this reminds me of the Seattle team that won the Super Bowl against the Broncos. That Legion of Boom defense was suffocating. It was outstanding. They destroyed the Broncos from basically the first drive out and took control of the game. And Russell Wilson just had to not lose it. Now, yes, that offense was able to stretch the field a little bit more at that time. They were able to make some big plays. But at the same time, they went into that locker room and just basically went, hey, Russ, don't blow it. That's all you just don't lose the game. And they would have been telling that to any quarterback in that locker room. It just happened to be Russ. So Sam Darnold did that. And I'm going to take one of my questions that I was going to ask at the end. I'm going to ask it to you now. What does this now do for Sam Darnold's legacy? You're talking about a top 3 pick who went to the Jets and was called a bust, one of the worst quarterback picks ever, never going to make it in the NFL. He bounces around. He ends up in Minnesota. It starts as being a backup in San Francisco, and he credits that a lot too. He started to get some run. He signs with the Vikings. 14 wins. He chokes in the playoffs. Seattle comes in and signs him in the offseason. He does something that only Tom Brady has done with back-to-back 14-win seasons. And then, while yes, the odds were in his favor, and it's fair to bring it up because we're giving him this praise. He's got that defense. He's got home field advantages. My counter to that would be, I've seen plenty of quarterbacks blow that. Ask Josh Allen. Yeah. Ask Lamar Jackson. So what does this do now for Sam Darnold? Have we completely changed the book now?
I mean, I think this brings him to a similar level, in my opinion, to a Russell Wilson, where, and it's funny, they're both in Seattle, where maybe if Russ doesn't end up on Seattle, where that team was already starting to build and play pretty well, maybe if he ends up on the Jets or the Panthers or something like that, maybe he does struggle like Sam Darnold did. But if you give each quarterback a team with a blueprint that just needs a quarterback to make a couple good throws and keep the game within, a reasonable depth, he's going to win you a lot of games because he can do it really well. He may not be as athletic as a Lamar Jackson. He may not have the arm strength of a Josh Allen. He may not have the escapability and just wow factor of Patrick Mahomes. But if you need someone to just win you games by not making mistakes and playing good, easy football, those are the top two. And that's all you can really ask for.
And I'm going to put a cherry on top of that. The thing that I liked, and I'm going to use a negative stat to give this into a positive. He still had 14 interceptions this year. Second in the league behind former Seattle, which is all Seattle quarterbacks right now. Former Seattle quarterback and Jets quarterback, Geno Smith. So what that tells me is, and this isn't just the defense, Sam Darnold himself was able to not completely have a season where he just doesn't throw any interceptions and it looks like a fluke, because that was kind of the Minnesota year. He had a year where he still had an up and down season, but has gotten over the hump of allowing that to lose games.
Yes.
And I will, and the reason I'm hyping him and I'm heaping the praise is because I was one of the people who didn't believe in him and said, hey, I've got to see it. And then when the regular season was done, I said, I've got to see it in the playoffs. And then when the playoffs got done, I said, I need to see it in the Super Bowl before I decide I can put you out of that range.
Yeah.
And now here's the thing. If we're starting a draft tomorrow and you own a franchise and I own a franchise and we have whatever pick it is, and for some reason Drake Maye is on the board and Sam Darnold's on the board, we're taking Drake Maye. The ceiling is higher, all of that. But for right now, and this is a win now league.
Yeah.
I can't tell you if I've got everything back here. I don't have the greatest weapons. I just need a guy to not lose it. I'm not saying he's the first pick, but he's nowhere near the last pick anymore.
No, you're absolutely, and yeah. And if you look at teams that were literally a quarterback away from having a set roster, Seattle was basically the perfect fit for him. Besides Minnesota, who let him go, and from their wide receiver Justin Jefferson really effed up by letting him go, because that you saw what happened as soon as they lost that quarterback. They tanked hard.
Let me run through some comments. We did touch on this earlier, but yeah. I'm happy Kenneth Walker got it, but man, give it to the man who scored. Because here's the thing, and I don't want to go too far back, but this is a fair statement. There's no other position on the field that would have been allowed to score the most points in the game and not get the MVP. The kicker is the only person. If that was any wide receiver, running back, quarterback, defensive player, no matter, special teams player other than the kicker, he would have gotten the MVP. So a little bit of disrespect to Myers there.
One day it'll happen.
Your kicker over hits there. I'm gonna leave Ray and Nate playing along there alone. Old man take your generation's Jim Plunkett. Sure,
that is an old take.
You got me there, old man. Sorry. All right, Seahawks to the side. Let's talk about the New England Patriots. We'll start with Drake Maye, because that's what I'm going to... Actually, we'll start with some positive. I'm going to start with the defense. This defense came out in the first quarter and literally did everything it could to try and win the game for them. And
yeah,
I know a lot of you have your irrational hate. I'm going to credit Chris Collinsworth a lot, because he was pointing it out very early. And remember, broadcasters, and I had to take some notes and learn some of this, you're not broadcasting for me and you and everyone else who knows the game of football. He's doing it for everybody else in the room who doesn't. And he told you very early on, the Patriots look like this defense looks like it's trying to score points right now, because they don't know if this offense is going to be able to score points. And there was a drive early on when they had the ball. I think they were only down 6. I think it was 9-0. Shout out to Coach Craig in the building. There was a he did jinx the no penalties. There was a drive. I think the Patriots were down 9-0. They got the ball very deep in their own area, and he literally said, "This could decide the game right here." If something bad happens here, they might not get a chance again. And if something goes good, they have a chance to get back in this game. And it was a great observation there very early on still. And I know we like to say it's a 4-quarter game, but it really wasn't. The Patriots defense did everything they could until they were just on the field after every 4 and out. I mean, what did the Patriots have? 12 punts. It was a crazy amount.
Right.
Like that, there's only so much any defense could do, and I would even argue if Seattle was doing that to their defense and not being able to sustain a couple drives and a couple first downs, I'd argue that could have happened to them easily in the second half, because we've seen this Patriots team really come out in the second half and play better. And they started to in the fourth quarter until the strip fumble. But there was opportunities there if the offense could have done anything. So this defense, I mean, I'm not saying you're going to go in the locker room and say this is all your fault on that side of the ball. But if I'm on that defense, I've got to be leaving the stadium going, man, I did everything I could.
No, you're right. And I think the issue is obviously the Patriots offense looked pretty good in the regular season. The postseason really, and especially Drake Maye as well, he kind of struggled for the most part of it. If you look at all 4 games in the postseason, he only averaged about 200 yards from each game, and he had 8 turnovers with like 4 interceptions and 4 lost fumbles. It just happened that the defense completely took over the games that they played in, right? They absolutely destroyed CJ Stroud, making him look like Nathan Peterman in some aspects. And then they made
CJ Stroud lose the game.
Yeah. And then they played a backup quarterback in a snowstorm. And so obviously exactly. And so you could obviously say that goes both ways. But we saw the track record that when these teams are playing good defenses, this offense is going to struggle. And they were playing one of the best defenses in the league in the Super Bowl. It just so happened that they had a veteran quarterback on the other side, and there was no weather that was going to be impacting there. And so the luck just kind of ran out for New England, where the defense was going to keep you in the game. The offense just was not getting going all postseason, and they again didn't.
The easy schedule is allowed to be talked about now. I don't want to. I wasn't allowing it to be too much of a criticism in the moment, because at the end of the day, in this league, you just got to go out there and beat who's in front of you. There's really, truly only a couple teams that are that bad that they're not going to sneak up and beat you. Other than that, every other one of these teams has 5+ wins. That means they're going to get somebody one of these weeks.
Yeah.
So
we even got Green Bay. So yeah.
That's a fair criticism to put up now, though, when you can look at the totality of both of these seasons. Number one. Number two, this isn't an offense that is really that great. The reason Drake Maye finished second in the MVP voting is because he's kind of dragged this offense along. He's a 75, almost 76% completion rating for the season as a passer. I mean, so you're talking about a guy who gets the ball out, distributes it out, and then gets rolling. Well, when you have about a half a second to throw the ball, you're not going to be able to get that out. Now, at the same time, and this was brought up, and I'm going to steal it. Shout out to Cousin Sal. One of the things, and I have noticed this, but it definitely showed itself yesterday. Drake Maye is a quarterback, and there's a difference, because we usually talk about pocket passers and scramblers. Well, even in the pocket, there are guys who can throw in kind of any kind of foot motion. Drake Maye is a set his feet, make a completion quarterback. That defense had him so rattled that he was setting his feet and still missing guys, still overthrowing, still throwing with too much power on throws. That's how disruptive this defense was, and how bad this Patriots offensive line was as a whole. And when that offensive line is that bad, you can't get the running game going, because then they know you cannot pass, so you cannot set up any kind of play action. So then you become predictable. And this has not come out, I don't think, and been said enough, although I haven't listened to too much today. And I agree with Coach. made mistakes and the quarterback forced the ball. Seattle made them play their game. That's 100% correct. Mike Vrabel got out coached.
Oh, yeah.
Massively. And it's fair to talk about. And the reason it's been so silent is because he was the hyped up coach that the media loved for this whole entire run. And that same media is not going to crucify him because they were the ones giving him that love. It wasn't necessarily so organic. I know he's a great coach, but it's been pretty quiet on that end. He got out coached. And I'll bring this up. At some point, the Patriots, I mean, you've got 2 weeks to work on this stuff. At some point, you know, the defense is suffocating you. There were no trick plays. There was no, they didn't try anything. Then Mike Vrabel's an old school guy. He goes into I formation and they break out an 8-yard run. Guess how many times they ran I formation for the rest of the game, Drew? 0. I'm not saying you needed to turn this game into a cloud of dust, 3 yards in a cloud of dust in 80s and 90s football, early 90s football. But at some point, maybe try it, just see if it works, because nothing was working. And the game plan, now I'll give you the first half. I got no problems. And it's a reason that they come out better in the second half. There's a conscious effort in there by the coaching staff to say, either this is working and we're going to keep going with it. This isn't working. We're not doing it anymore. We're going to try this. I did not see that in the one game where, like we've talked about, and this does happen, teams keep plays in their playbook for moments like this in games like this. They don't bring them out usually week 1 and week 2 and week through week 5. You get later on, you pull one of those out. Okay, that worked. Or you try one in week 1 and then you try it again in week 14. You don't use them all the time, but this is the game. It's why we see quarterback passes and lineman touchdowns. This is the game where it's all open. All the cards are on the table. And the Patriots went into the locker room and came back out in the second half and said, no, we're good. Well, what about it was good? When they're telling you that punting the ball away is a good idea right now, you've got to be doing something and trying something. And maybe if your quarterback's getting hammered like that, you don't want to open it up to flea flickers and Hail Marys. Well, the I formation gave you 8 yards, and that was one of your biggest plays in the game. Why not try it a couple more times?
No, you brought up a point that I was going to make where,
sorry.
No, it's fine, because the big point about New England that I wanted to talk about was their complete abandonment of the running game. I looked up and it was 6-0 in the second quarter, and all that was going through my mind was, man, Seattle is not taking opportunity of these chances. They're only getting field goals. It's just, New England's right in this game. And let me bring up a stat here. Drake Maye, Ramondre Stevenson, and Travion Henderson were the only 3 players to run the football for New England. Total, they ran 18 times. Kenneth Walker ran more times by himself than those 3. And we talked about it last week where, yes, Kenneth Walker had a great game, but there's only one of them. New England has 2 very competent running backs that they can lean on, especially in a game where...
And a quarterback who can run.
Yeah, well, they're in running backs. Completely just disrupted my point here.
Those 2 running backs who can run.
No, they can run in a game where the strength of the Seattle defense is their secondary. It's not necessarily their rushing defense. So for them to completely abandon the running game so early on, when this game was not out of reach until probably the fourth quarter, it was really baffling to me where you leaned on I don't want to call him a rookie quarterback because he's technically a second year, but in terms of where he's at, a rookie quarterback, leaning on him so much with not a super talented receiving core. It just didn't make any sense to me. And this is where I brought up why I said in this key matchup, what are the head coaches? Because listen, Mike Vrabel, an amazing motivator, gets a lot out of his guys. There are moments, it happened in Tennessee a lot, and it really happened in this game, where you're left scratching your head going, what was the thought process to abandon this or go for this? And that was a major thing here, where I think when he looks back at this tape, he's gonna even ask himself, why didn't I run the ball, or why didn't I stick with the run game? Because Seattle, they didn't really have success early on either, but they kept going, and the holes eventually kind of just came through, and that's why they were so successful.
The thing that bothers me is when you look at Seattle's game plan, it was very clearly early on, get Sam Darnold going. Get Sam Darnold in rhythm, get him lathered up, let's go, get him going. Then we're going to make this running game fill in the rest of the holes and fill in the rest of this game. The Sam Darnold at the beginning, it didn't work. It wasn't working. And he missed some throws. He missed Rashid Shaheed down the field.
Mm-hmm.
I know he was rushed, but he missed Jackson Smith and Jigba early before he was out, or before he got banged up and was out for a little bit. Wide open for a walk-in, would have been a walk-in touchdown. He missed some throws. The Patriots went out on that first drive, and the one thing that they were successful at was running the football. Ramondre looked good. Travion did not look bad. He looked like he could have one of those good Travion games. They didn't get him out in space and try to throw it to him enough either. I know it's hard when, like Coach says, what can you do when your guard and center was in the QB's lap every play? But run the I formation. It gave you 8 yards. Just because I could understand if Seattle was putting up touchdowns and putting you down 14, 21,
exactly.
28. Then I've got to throw because I need points. They were kicking field goals. One good drive centered around a heavy formation, and you put a touchdown on the board at 7-6. Then we don't know what happens because now this defense has time to rest. And if you go into the second quarter with that same pressure, does Sam Darnold break down? Or if it's 10-7 at half in the third quarter, do you get that interception finally?
No, listen, the number one rule that coaches learn is to not abandon the run because it sets up everything else. And it's just, like I said, it's one of those head scratchers that Vrabel unfortunately has everywhere he goes, especially in big moments. And so it's kind of the same old, and it's unfortunate.
All right, now that the game is over and the congratulations and the head slaps and the high fives are all done, I want to talk a little bit about the future for both of these teams. I think we'll start with the easy one because I think the Patriots are a better conversation.
Just run it back, yeah.
Right. If you're Seattle, I don't think there's really anything. The one thing I would say, because listen, and every coach will tell you, regardless of a championship, we have holes on this team that need help. For Seattle, you definitely need a reliable backup at running back because we're not sure. Even with Kenneth Walker, he's had up and down history with the health. Zach Charbonnet's had an even sketchier up and down history with the health. And yes, they are losing their offensive coordinator. So you're going to have to replace that with somebody and hope that this offense can keep going. I would say the thing for Seattle is the blueprint's pretty easy to follow. But I think they need a reliable backup running back to mix in with those two. And I think you need to look in this draft or maybe in free agency for just one more playmaker because I like AJ Barner. Shout out to him from Aurora High School. Obviously, Jackson Smith and Jigba, your offensive player of the year. Is Rashid Shaheed that guy? I don't know. Right. Obviously, they picked him up later. Maybe he needs more time in the offense. But something a little extra, an X factor. Maybe it's a hybrid. Maybe he's a guy who can come out of the tight end wide receiver. Maybe he's a running back wide receiver hybrid. Something else to just give that offense a little bit more. And then, you absolutely run it back. And those two things you can find in the draft.
No, I think that's the exact way you have to do it. Because if you look at teams that are successful post their Super Bowl win, it is one, basically shoring up every position that next person up is going to be just as successful when they reach their peak as the guy who's starting. Look at all the receivers in New England. Look at all of the linemen and receivers for the Chiefs. But I agree with you. One, and I want to use the term safety blanket. One more safety blanket on the offense for Sam Darnold to take some stress off Jackson Smith and Jigba, but two, in those moments where it's a 3rd and 9, you know what I mean? They need a first down. They got to have it. Cooper Kupp was that receiver kind of for them. Unfortunately, listen, he's getting old. The trajectory's going to go down. You need someone there that he's going to get space. He's going to create separation. And as long as I make a good throw, he's catching it and he's getting it there. And so someone like that, whether it's a running back, tight end, wide receiver, I would lean more on the experience side, but you can find it in the draft. Someone like that to help Sam Darnold out, that's not Jackson Smith and Jigba, is, I think, going to be key for them.
Yeah. Now this is the injury bug kind of roared its
Yeah.
head for Jackson Smith and Jigba in the Super Bowl, but I
Yeah.
mean that's
And
that
the fact it didn't fall apart, I think, is
right.
a testament to how well that was coached too.
100%, but I agree with you. And I'm gonna date myself because we don't there's not a lot of these guys currently in the NFL, but like a Darren Sproles,
Yeah.
what Reggie Bush could have been, just a different guy who can get a Taysom Hill, but I don't think he needs to be a quarterback. Just something
Any slot receiver for the Patriots in the 2010s.
right, just something, just something. And you're right, it was Cooper Kupp, and I didn't mention it, but like I said, yeah, Cooper Kupp probably retiring, but even if he comes back, not the most reliable right now, and getting up there. So yeah, somebody young to kind of sprinkle into that offense. Now the Patriots. Now, yes, the quarterback
line.
right. Yes, the quarterback is 23 years old. That's great, and that's the best thing that you get to build around. And the defense is solid. The problem is this kid is a rookie that you drafted. Mm-hmm. So are you calling him a bust? Because the weird thing about offensive line is, because Sam Darnold's kind of a one-off. Normally, these guys show flashes very early on, and we know. Caleb Williams, even Patrick Mahomes, we knew. As soon as he stepped on the field, we knew. It's less of a growing position anymore. And listen, I'm not praising that. Tom Brady criticizes it. You can sit on whichever side of the fence on there you want to sit on. But that's just what it is as the position. Offensive line still goes back and forth. We have guys that come out immediately and are all pros. Zach Martin for the Cowboys, I'll throw him out. But then we also have guys who need a year or two, maybe a position change from tackle to guard, left to right, and then they become all pros. So I don't think it's fair to just give up on this kid, but they also do need some help, obviously.
Yeah, and listen, whether that is getting new guys in or if they truly believe that they just need a new offensive line coach, because listen, I remember, I forget his name, that coached in Cleveland. That offensive line was the best in football and helped Chubb and Hunt be as successful as they are. Granted, they are very talented. It just completely impacted that. And then once he left, it was just very much exactly. This is it's all about coaching sometimes, or even taking development and everything like that. Thank you, Callahan. So whether it's coaching or you think you need players, something has to change up with the offensive line. However, there does need to be a tentative effort to get a guy, I think, in New England, because listen, love Stephon Diggs, much competitor. He's not that guy anymore.
No.
He is a great number two that if he's not getting double covered, you can rely on him. But at this day and age, he cannot be your number one and consistently give you targets. And so while we talked about Seattle needing like a safety blanket, I think Stephon Diggs is your safety blanket for New England. You need a Jackson Smith and Jigba for the Patriots.
The other thing not Jackson Smith and Jigba, the other thing with Diggs, and it did kind of come alive in the Super Bowl. He loses his temper, he loses his cool, he loses his control. The first time, it didn't cost them, but the second time, you could argue it fired the team up. They went down and scored a touchdown after that issue, but that doesn't happen all the time. Yeah. We've seen too many examples of it going the wrong way. You're right. Odell Beckham, George Pickens in Pittsburgh, Antonio Brown in Pittsburgh, Mike Wallace in Pittsburgh. Like we've seen
Le'Veon Bell in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh taking random shots. Or taking some strays. But we've seen it go negatively. So yeah, I agree with you. Stephon Diggs isn't it. I like Kayshon Boutte. I like the other kid whose name I'm forgetting.
Demario Douglas.
Yeah, Douglas. They need another guy though. I think it's time to transition Diggs out And yes, it's time. It's time to make some adjustments on that offensive line and on the skill position. I mean, I think offensive line is your first round pick, and I think a wide receiver has to be the second pick if I'm the Patriots. And then we just go offensive line because you can get some depth there too. I do want to say, and because Coach brought up a good point, they are going to lose some guys on defense if they don't pay them. Christian Gonzalez is a guy you need to pay. That dude is amazing. What that insane play early on where he tracked Rashid Shaheed and got his hand up on the ball. And all I keep hearing is how fast Shaheed is. And I watched that corner absolutely chase him down, hawk him, and get that ball up. Like, you sign him. Sign those guys. The quarterback's good still. Draft young, then see where you go.
And we talked about Njigba was hurt for a little bit. He was also on the field for, I want to say, like 3/4 of the game. He only ended with 27 yards, and that's because Christian Gonzalez was on him for majority of the game. That he did his job and shut him down. It's just that the offense was able to do everything else around him. You're absolutely right.
And Kenneth Walker III may had some amazing runs too that he deserves credit for. At some point, a great play is going to break down a great defense.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. No, but I think New England has the building blocks. Everything's there. You just need someone, like I said, you just need someone to truly be able to take over a game, because your running backs are good, but not great. Your quarterback right now is good, but not great. Your wide receivers are good, but not great. You need great somewhere around there. And I think the easiest spot to fill is that wide receiver position. One, because there's so many great receivers in this draft this year. But two, I'm sure you can find one in free agency this year too. And we have got a third person saying it should be a kicker this year.
So I agree. I'm going to agree. Now, the thing for both of these teams, though, division winners. So both schedules next year are going to be difficult for both of these teams. I think that impacts the Patriots more because, it wouldn't be the end of the year NFL segment without some degeneracy. That's impacted in Vegas as well. Seattle, currently, right now, the favorites, obviously the Super Bowl winner, but the favorites to win the NFC next year at plus 400, right besides the Rams. The New England Patriots are fourth in the AFC, with the Bills and the Ravens leading the way, followed by the Chargers, then the Chiefs, or the Patriots, who have the same odds as the Chiefs. The disrespect immediately in terms of looking forward.
I'm never gonna have betting odds for me, because one, the Ravens were the best betting odds last year. They didn't even make the playoffs. And they also have a new coach going in, and so do Buffalo. But I know that is interesting, because if I'm looking at that team, I feel like it's only upward trajectory for them as long as they kind of get to play their cards right. Because like I said, it's not like they need a complete retool the team. Oh. It's not like this team was like a bunch of veterans that won a Super Bowl and now everyone's either retiring or going to get a fat contract somewhere. A lot of this team is shored up.
Some of those defensive players are, but they have the money for it.
A lot of this team is shored up in terms of long-term deals. And so, honestly, all you need is just to kind of restock the positions that you're losing and then upgrade in like one or two positions, and you're right back to being a Super Bowl favorite, in my opinion. And so, we'll see what happens. If I'm being honest, they should have better odds than Seattle, because I think Seattle, unless they retool that offense, is going to struggle, because I think these defenses are going to start to learn and cause Sam Darnold to lose some of those games that he didn't lose this season.
I like that. And I normally wouldn't put it up because it doesn't favor me, but I will. Are we even sure are we sure Matthew Stafford's coming back next year? Which more plays into your comment that you don't want to talk about odds for next year yet. I just thought it was interesting how far the loser of this game, being the Patriots, has dropped, but nonetheless. Now, we've had some steady numbers today on the viewership and the comments and the likes. Now, we are going to switch. We're going to put the Super Bowl away, but I encourage everybody to stick around, because I know I got a lot of football guys in here. But we're going to break this down for you in a way that is fun and interesting for everybody, and it turns into some rants because this is our favorite part of the show. We're going to skip over hoops this week. We're going to talk. I mean, next Thursday is all hoops, NBA and college basketball. We're going to break down some stuff. I got rankings again. I'm going to give you my top players from the past 3 weeks. Drew's got his games to watch and his recap of the games that have followed as well, both on the men's and women's side. But we're going to kind of keep it short and compact today. We had a nice long Super Bowl talk. Now we're going to talk some footy, Drew. Give me my results from the English Premier Soccer League of this past weekend.
Ken?
Yeah, Drew.
We've been on a roll lately.
Let's go, baby.
This is I don't remember a time where both of our teams have been consistently winning like this. It's either you or me, or we both suck. I don't think we've both been good.
I haven't won 4 in a row in like 2 years, so it's been mostly you sprinkled in with me. But I'll take the compliment.
All right, let's get started. Like I said, we always do the games, everyone else before us. But I will leave the last one for the end because I think that's a good talking point.
I do too.
Nate, and listen, we'll put them up here. 2-1 winners over Fulham. Listen, we talked about it last week how a draw would be good for you. A win against this Fulham team that's been playing really good football lately is a great win. You kind of out Fulhamed. You played great defense, and you got two balls in the box to put you up ahead. Great job there. You killed this Fulham team's momentum kind of dead in its tracks. And yeah, listen, this is an Everton team that a year or two ago we were talking about potentially being relegated, and now crawling back up kind of mid-table, coming to the upper half. Really, really impressive here. Obviously, we'll see kind of what the next steps are because Sean Dyche is a very, very within the box coach, and so at times it's only been getting up so high. You don't really get higher than that, but so far so good.
And that is now the thing that's going to keep Everton out of relegation this year is, yes, this is very true. A bad first half, playing well in the second half. The thing about Everton last year is they would lose these games during that relegation, almost relegated year. They'd lose these games to Fulham. The difference between Everton is, yes, they're going to lose to some of the better attacking clubs when they have these bad first halves because the deficit is going to be too surmountable to overcome. However, they're now good enough, and they have some attacking prowess, although there was 2 own goals in this game, one on each end. But now they're winning the games against mid to lower table teams, which is going to keep you afloat. And I mean, they sit 8th. I mean, they're within striking distance of a Europe spot, which would be a complete overachievement for a team that just wanted to be mid-table. So yeah, absolutely.
No, and I think the biggest thing here is that the Everton teams of previous years were still probably about the same defensively, but they were so toothless in offense that this game was ending 1-0 or 2-0 to Fulham because Everton had nothing going forward. You now have some attackers. Dewsbury Hall is looking phenomenal. Ndiaye is looking amazing. You have some actual attacking threats now that puts some pressure off of your defense, allows them to play better, and now you're getting opportunities going forward. This is a team that has a lot to offer, and I think they have a very interesting end of the next couple of months and also going into the summer to see kind of what direction this team takes. Because this Everton, a very storied club, but also in previous years has been known to get to this level and then sell off a lot of their talent.
You wanted to bring up some of the different names. First of all, Jordan Pickford, just a standard in goal that is going to allow you to win games and keep you in games. It's also worth pointing out because now that he's not with Manchester City, I can start doing this again. Jack Grealish has been a godsend for this team as well. Getting back to what the Jack Grealish that we know, a super talented player, call-ups for England. That's a good thing. And then, I got to give some love to James Garner, former Manchester United academy and squad player too. So shout out to Everton.
No, absolutely. And I will say, Jack Grealish, obviously the goal scorer at Villa and had a kind of a slump at City. Really more of a facilitator in his role at Everton, and I think is just absolutely buying into it. And it's great for the team.
It's who he's always been. Villa was so bad he had no choice but to score goals too.
Absolutely.
We'll move on.
All right. To a result that is not great for one of our viewers now. Brentford 3-2 winners over Newcastle. Newcastle just continuing to plummet and give up goals right now. Listen, we've talked about it. This Newcastle defense is either extremely old or super inexperienced, and it's just causing this team to just play very, very poorly. Eddie Howe very much likes to play an open game, very attacking heavy. And the issue is it's costing him because of how kind of just poor this defense has been. Brentford playing well, not giving them any credit. But the issue is that with a team like Brentford, you can very much stifle them if you don't allow them to kind of get a lot of opportunities in goal. But that Newcastle team has been doing that all season, and you're seeing this again now.
Said viewer that was killing is they're chiming in. The problem for me is this game is, so I give Everton the credit. I know Fulham have now dropped 2 in a row with the loss to United and the loss to Everton. Everton deserved that result. Brentford, if this was a team that was on a run of form, I mean they've lost 2 and I have to double check. I'm sorry. Lost 2 and have won 2, but this isn't a team that's been on some monstrous run of form and are coming in and like Sunderland early on.
Yeah,
Newcastle should win this game, and that's the bigger problem for me is what's going on that side. This is a team that has had a lot of money pumped into. We talk about it every week. A lot of money pumped into it year after year. We're the season of we had to play in the Champions League and the Premier League at the same time is so far removed that it's not a talking point anymore. Yeah. What's going on here? I know they also 100% thought they were going into this season with their top striker in Alexander Isak. And I know Liverpool came in and hijacked them late and it was ugly. But first of all, you got money for that sale. And secondly, that can't be all. Not with the money that's been put in this club.
No, you're right. And I think the issue is that you have these owners who came in and truly, I think, thought that they were going to basically become the next PSG, right? You have this money pumped in. All these players are going to want to come and play. And I think the issue is that they misunderstood, I think, the difference between French and English football, right? French football, there's some talent, but there's not a lot of massive competition there. And right. So like one team was made for the taking, and you pick the team that's in Paris, all the players want to play there. And so it was very easy to build up that club really, really quickly. Newcastle is very, very different, right? You have 5 or 6 teams above them that have a lot more history in terms of, championships and stuff like that. And also, Newcastle isn't a destination. You know what I mean? It's not a place that you can say, yeah, we may be second or third, in terms of talent, but you get to play here. And that's not Newcastle. And so you saw this in the summer window where a lot of these players that Newcastle were, quote unquote, like in talks with either went to Liverpool or they went to City or they went to Chelsea. And so they're ending up having to either get some of these players on loan or buy their second, third, fourth option. And they're just not working out because instead of going, you know what, we didn't get our top option, let's save the money and stick with our players. They kind of have done a Chelsea the past couple of years and gone, well, we need to buy somebody. And then they buy this guy for 30, 40 million and he doesn't work out because he's not ready for the Premier League, but they just bought someone. And I think that's the issue that's currently with Newcastle. You bought a Kieran Trippier who is well past his prime. You bought Lewis Hall, who, while talented, is really, really young and really, really raw and is going to make mistakes. And you kind of look at that defense and there's no one really else. You got Dan Burn, who's been there for 30 years probably. And so the issue is this Newcastle team just, especially the owners, need to look and say, we're not here in terms of destination and in terms of history. We need to buy like we're here and then we can get up there. It's just they're mismanaging it. I think that's what's causing them to fail right now.
All right, we'll stop dumping on Pops.
I'm not trying to.
All right, we'll get to you, sir. 3-1 over Wolves. I mean, yes, I'll throw the negatives out to get them out of the way. Wolves sitting very bottom of the table. Yes, very much a game that Chelsea should get a result on. However, a good result in itself, no matter what.
No, and that's exactly what the point is. I think the biggest thing that I've been impressed with in Liam Rosner's term so far is his ability to read a game very, very well. And so when you look at when we played Napoli or when we played West Ham, obviously you go down and your ability to read that maybe you made a mistake or you made kind of a difference in how the tactics were and immediately switch and have success, I think is really, really impressive. But then you have games like Crystal Palace and Wolves where you have a team, and for the longest time, a Chelsea coach has not been able to break down a team in a low block. You have a team that's sitting in a low block, allowing you to attack them, but then also have success that way as well, I think is very, very impressive. And so my thing is maybe the initial team hasn't looked great, but when you have a coach that, regardless of how the team starts, is getting results, I think that speaks to the bigger point, regardless of how, quote unquote, well the team is playing.
Time out. This is not for stick. This is not for ratings. This is not for views. This is not for click. I am legitimately pissed off at you. How are you? First of all, I'll give Nate this credit. Wolves does have talent. Cole Palmer has a hat trick, and you're talking to me about Crystal Palace and other games and your coach. I have given you all kinds of crap behind the scenes and on the show about Cole Palmer coming to United. The man has a hat trick, and this man is talking about his coach. Come on, Drew.
Well, listen, just because I'm the younger brother does not mean I'm not more mature. I'm taking the higher road here, and I was thinking about it, and I was not going to do it, but now I'm going to. The fact that after the game, he gushed about Liam Rosner and how this team is going to be so competitive in the next couple of years, basically completely dismissing any United rumors that they've all gone away now. I wasn't going to say that, but since you brought it up, I am. Listen, that Cole Palmer, he's been hurt. We've been limiting his minutes. This is Cole Palmer at his best, and that's exactly what we said. But he also had 2 penalties, so I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? That was the thing here. Sorry for Enzo Fernandez, who just got taken away.
Which he does tend to get a lot of.
But I didn't want to focus on this game because it is Wolves and they still have less than double-digit points. This is still an evaluation period for Liam. And it's like you were going to talk about Michael Carrick for half of this segment for United. And so you have to look at the results as a whole because you still don't know kind of what you're going to get out of this guy game to game. And the fact he's been able to, in these types of games, just put teams away very quickly is very, very impressive to me. But also the fact that even when he does go down and maybe he does get the immediate tactics wrong, he's able to switch and get them right almost immediately.
First of all, sorry, something fell. I don't know what it is and can't figure it out right now. Secondly, a little behind the scenes, or as my guys at the Leopard say, this is how the sausage is made. Drew's one rule about doing this show is he refuses to be first take or PTI, with the caveat that I'm allowed to sprinkle it in every once in a while. So I had
to rage bait me a little bit. You're allowed to rage bait me.
I had to force that Cole Palmer take out of you because for 2 straight weeks I gave you crap about it, and this was your chance to shut it down. I'm glad you did. There's my guy. Your best player is playing his best ball under your coach. I mean,
that's good.
There you go.
Life's good. And speaking of life's good, Ken, you are 1 game away from that United fan shaving his head.
Oh, I cannot wait.
Manchester United 2-0 win over Spurs. listen, I know they got a red card, but even before, it was domination from start to finish.
Yep.
A professional performance out of you here. How are we feeling?
I don't remember what it's like to win 4 games in a row. For the story behind the scenes, if you don't understand, there's a United fan over in the UK who has been growing his hair out till this team wins 5 in a row. And it's literally, it would be off
It's
the
out there.
screen. Yeah, it'd be off the screen. If he was sitting in my seat right now, you wouldn't see all of his hair. It's getting crazy. Yeah, we're 1 win away. No, there are no trap games in the Premier League. We do have currently fighting out of relegation. West Ham, I know we're going to talk about that, but still, got to stay locked in. Drew, yes, with the red card, yes, it helped, but yes, there was control of that game from the opening whistle on the front foot. I forgot they're not
I'm
up on
actually
the
going to
screen.
check that. Oh wow, yeah, you are bad at home. I just looked at that.
Yeah, Everton bad at home, United winning at home. Man, there's just a different swagger about this team. There really is. And now that we've had a couple weeks of not just Ruben Amorim being gone, but Michael Carrick being in, the reports that are coming out, Ruben Amorim didn't speak to the team very often after games. Michael Carrick, whether it's not often very one-to-one tactical things, but talks to the team after every game. He's much more hands-on in training. They've moved some timing things around. So, and it's a small thing, but to me, it's a big thing. The bus leaves late from Carrington. That's where the home is, to the stadium, so that there's more fans in the stadium when the team arrives. So the atmosphere is better. It feels more like Old Trafford. This team plays on the front foot. Bruno's back in the 10. I gave him a little bit of criticism, but I cannot say enough about the resurgence of Kobe Mano under Michael Carrick and the way that he's just moved right into this team. Casemiro as well, Luke Shaw. I mean, we lost Duragu, and this team has kind of just kept it running with Embuemo and Cunha. I mean, listen, and I'm going to say it for the for the 4th week in a row now. What I know is this team is going to go out and try to go play on the front foot and go score some goals. I'm good with that. And shout out to Lemons, because another clean sheet here. The kid is really, really coming along as a starting keeper as well.
Absolutely. And I think this is something that I think I've noticed. For every coach that has come in for you, right, regardless of who it is, all of them have said like this is Manchester United. You know the stakes, you know how important it is. And I know the players, and the players understand. Michael Carrick is the first coach that I've seen that to truly encapsulate what it is to be a coach at Manchester United. Because one, obviously he knows the heartbeat of the fans and how to get players motivated in terms of that. But he also looks like he has a very deep understanding of the players that he has at his disposal. And that is something that I think Ruben Amorim very much lacked, where you see a coach come in and immediately try to set up his system and not kind of gauge how the players interact, because he's assuming he's going to get players, his own players in, while Michael Carrick sees his players, understands what he wants out of, or what he can get out of them, and plays accordingly. And in my opinion, that's more impressive of a coach than saying, buy me $300 million worth of players and then I'll be successful. And so if I'm United, this is something where obviously you are not going to get, you are not going to have Michael Carrick as a Pep Guardiola or a Klopp, right? Where they are just masterful tacticians. But if you want a Manchester United that at its base level is going to feel and act and be respected as a Manchester United team, there is a lot worse you can do than Michael Carrick.
The coaching search has already begun.
Yes.
From what I'm reading through Gary Neville too, who's tapped in and out with the team. From what I've been told, if Michael Carrick wants to put his hat in the ring, he can, and he will be considered a candidate. I'm not leaning there yet. And I'm not ready to say give him the job yet. But I'm feeling very optimistic about it because of what you just said. Now, don't get me wrong. Duragu, Bueno, Sesko, Cunha, all Ruben Amorim signings, guys that he wanted. The problem is he bought those guys to fit his system and said, I'm going to sacrifice everyone else. Michael Carrick has come in and said, all of those guys can do just as well without sacrificing the rest of the 11. And that has been the difference. I don't know. And the problem is, and this is what happens when you have a big club, the club feels like it has to have a big manager because these players will only want to come play for a big manager. I don't know yet. I need to know more on the recruitment side, but I'm not leaning there yet, but I'm getting close.
And you know what's crazy to me about that is that Sir Alex Ferguson was in the Scottish Premiership with Hearts.
Right.
Yeah, with Hearts when you signed him. It's not like he was this massive, and he's the most successful coach in your history. Aberdeen, sorry, not Hearts. So the need to sign this big name just doesn't make sense, at least in your perspective. Like for Chelsea, Jose Mourinho won a Champions League with Porto beforehand, so it makes sense, right? Or Conte
and Inter or
Inter, yeah. But like a big name. Our last Premier League was with Antonio Conte, and that was a big name because he was coming from the Italian national team. Like, it makes sense that Chelsea are going to have big names. It doesn't make sense for you, at least, because that's not what got you success. And I think that's also what you need to go back to.
I'll give you, finally, I don't do it often when you compare our teams. I'll give you this one. You have bought big managers and won trophies. You buying big managers, I understand. We bought a smaller, successful manager and allowed him to grow into a great manager. And then when he retired, we have done nothing but try to hire top managers. We finally tried to go the younger route here with Ruben. Didn't actually give him all the time that you would have given someone else. And so I agree. Let's get to the last one. Let's get to the game of the week.
Yeah, this was I watched this game from start to finish, and listen, the first 45 were awful, but the second 45 made up for it. Manchester City keep their title hopes alive with a 2-1 win over Liverpool. Ken, Liverpool looked like the team to beat for the first 75 minutes, and then for some reason, and I think this is a testament to Arne Slot, or a detriment, I should say, to Arne Slot, completely changed their tactics when going up 1 goal and allowed City to get back in this game. A goal and an assist from Haaland gets them the win here. We'll talk also about the crazy call at the end of the game. But initial reactions on this game in terms of City, but also I think, honestly, I want to talk about the Liverpool aspect here.
Oh, I'm going to touch on that. First shout out to the free kick goal by help me with that name there.
Szoboszlai?
Yeah, Szoboszlai. Just an amazing free kick. Got to give it love. It was outstanding. We don't have enough of those in the modern game anymore, of guys just taking strikes at the ball like that. And he's converted a lot this year too, so that's why I want to give him credit as well. Manchester City, I don't need to talk about Manchester City. I know what Manchester City is. They're not a great defense anymore, but they can score goals because they have Silva and they have Haaland and they have the offensive talent and they have he who I will not name in the midfield. He plays attacking midfielder. He plays for England.
Yeah, I know.
I know what I'm going to get on offense, and I know I'm going to be able to put some goals past them. Here's the problem. They still have Pep on that sideline. And the thing that happened in this game is Pep, I mean, and this is almost Bill Belichick. This is Phil Jackson. He didn't even have to do anything to make Arne Slot out-coach himself and completely lose the game.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to Pep's legacy and what he's won. But Pep didn't even have to do anything, and Arne Slot went in there and overthought it and screwed it up.
No, you're absolutely right. And I will say one of the best things about a Pep Guardiola team is they are so good at immediately smelling blood in the water and taking advantage of it. Because as soon as Liverpool went up 1, that City team passed the ball back on the restart, and that Liverpool team dropped 10, 15 yards, and that team went, oh, okay, and passed right around them and started making chances. And so, like you said, there's not a lot to talk about in this Manchester City other than praise, right? Because that's they are so well coached to know exactly what to do when they see that. But when we go to the Liverpool side, and this is something that I think has been Arne Slot's worst attribute since he's been here, and it's cost him so many games, the lack of recognition on like big moments in games when you need to get tactics just right. And this is just another aspect of it where, and we saw it from game 1 when they played Bournemouth and drew 3-3. This team's inability to take a lead and take control of the game from there. It very much, I'm not sure if it's just more of like a Dutch tactic, because I've seen this in other Dutch coaches where they take this lead and then they want to protect that lead instead of continuing to do what has been successful for them. I understand it's a free kick and it was kind of out of the blue, but this team was stopping Manchester City attacks. They were relieving the pressure and they got the goal they needed. You didn't need to change what was happening. Maybe you bring on another defender, for a midfielder or something less attacking, but to completely start sitting back against a team that's known to be one of the best at breaking down a low blocks, it was baffling to me. But I can't say it was that baffling because he's done it all season, and that's why they've been so unsuccessful compared to their last campaign.
You kind of set me up for this. A small humble brag, but it comes with a point. I didn't just play into college for 13, 14 years. I then started coaching, and I've been coaching for almost 11, 12 years now. My problem, and the reason I put this on Arne Slot, is the time of that goal. Now, if that goal was 80th minute on, and I know only the 74th, so I know you go, Ken, that's only 6 minutes. But 85th, 80 to 83, 85th, something in the 90s, I understand going, okay, we got it. Let's hold up now. I want my midfielder staying back. My wingers can come up a little bit. I need my striker working his tail off because I want to sit back. In the 74th minute, when you've been kind of in the team leading the control of the game, the message is stay on it. Yeah. The message is we're here. We're not going to sit back yet. It's not time yet. We're now we've got it. Continue to play. Use our heads. Don't overcommit. Don't overrun. But let's stay aggressive. He completely shelled back, and not just that. If Manchester City was a counter-attacking, let you sit, ball for ball, we're gonna run against you, I could understand going, all right, no. The thing Manchester City does is control the ball, let you sit back, pick you apart, and score goals. And you literally took the lead and then said, now you can play the game how you want. I got a goal. And that to me is on him.
No, absolutely. And I think the overarching thing that I think Liverpool has to look at is this is how he plays. This is what his strategy is. And so if I'm Liverpool, I'm looking at this and saying, do we want to be Liverpool pre-Jurgen Klopp? Because that's kind of what this team is right now. It's a team that can get up to 6th, 5th, maybe grab a Champions League every couple years. But when it comes to big moments, they're going to fail because they couldn't get it done. And then Jurgen Klopp came in, breathed life into this team, and was able to get those big moments right. I feel like you're back to exactly where you were before. And I think I know it's early at Arne Slot, but the signs are there. You know what I mean? They won the league in the first 3 quarters of it, but that back quarter, it looked like they got figured out. And we all kind of attested to it. They already thought that they had won, so they kind of stepped back. But that has been continuous as we've gone into this season. And so they're probably not going to fire him this year, but you're going to go into year 3 of Arne Slot, And if those things aren't changed and you're kind of staying exactly where you are, a lot of questions are going to be asked of him.
Sprinkled in with a club, with a person who's up and down with the fans, but is beloved at the club in Mo Salah with that debacle as well. I'm going to not pretend like I almost didn't for the second week in a row, plug my laptop in and I have it die on the show. But that's nonetheless. All right, Drew, let's finish it up real quick. Let's get to this week. Midweek, technically starting tomorrow because, that's where I start. But go ahead, run us through.
Yes, Leeds travel to Chelsea. I know this Leeds team has been playing well lately, but nothing other than 3 points should be expected here, especially at home. You are not losing to Leeds at home, or that's a problem. Bournemouth travel to, I forget the new name of the stadium. It's not Goodison Park anymore. But they travel to Everton. Another test, but a similar team to Fulham, where I think if Everton plays how they played against Fulham, they should at minimum get a draw here. Go on.
If they were, yes, you should. This will not be an easy one, but I think you should still win. I think you may give up a goal or two, but you should still win. Everton can't repeat the performance, but hopefully the run of form gives them confidence to play a little bit better and they can get a result.
No, absolutely. United travel to London Stadium to face West Ham. Ken, this is, I know you played City, you played Arsenal, you played Tottenham. This is the one I've been waiting for because this is the game where Michael Carrick truly can show his chops as a manager. Because if you can just put down West Ham early and you're good to go, that's more impressive to me than winning a open game because you have the offensive talent to beat anyone in an open game. Can you break down a West Ham team?
We do have to travel there, so it is tougher. We're not playing at home.
Yeah.
I know what I'm gonna get. I know I'm gonna get a team that's gonna go in and try and attack. Yes, we're gonna have to break this team down. Hopefully they can do it. I'm not gonna say that this game is gonna decide for me whether or not I say I want Michael Carrick in next year. But if I'm leaning, I'm putting a leg over that fence if he comes out and they can tactically pick apart this team.
No, absolutely right. Does it go the other way though? If it's kind of a disappointing result?
Yeah, I'm gonna start to have to wonder if your success is based on the fact that you're taking a team that we already know is talented when the players are in the right spot and can score goals. If you're just taking advantage of that.
No, absolutely right. And finally, Newcastle travel to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to face Spurs. This one's an interesting one because both teams very leaky defensively, can have up and down performances. I'm interested on this one. I truly don't. I don't know who I would favor in this game because it truly depends on how each team comes out.
One of my favorite segments to reference when we bet is Cousin Sal and Bill Simmons. They have a thing in the NFL that they call a loser leaves town match. A wrestling reference, obviously, old school wrestling reference. If Chelsea were to lose to Leeds, the statement will be, we've got a good run, we dropped some points, it's a long season, let's keep going. For Everton, you know what, we got lucky last week, we know we got to be better, we're okay. United, hey, great run of games, 4 in a row. Yes, we lost one. We're good. Let's pick back up steam. Either of these teams lose this game, or even an ugly draw, and higher ups need to be asking questions about, is the coach good enough? Is the staff good enough? Are these players good enough? This isn't good enough.
No, I think you're right because both these teams have talent in their club. One, it's not nearly enough, but two, is that the fault of the players or is that the fault of the coach? And I think that's how this game kind of works out, where you kind of have similar talents. What coach is going to actually show, no, I can do this. I need the support. And what coach is going to kind of not have any answers after the game.
A Spurs loss and a West Ham upset would put Spurs, 6 points. 3 points off of relegation, and a Newcastle loss would put them about 5. I'm not doing the math real quick. I think it's 5 or 6. This is not good. And Spurs have had a longer run of kind of sitting this lower down in the table, where maybe it's not the coach. Maybe we just need a complete overhaul. But for Newcastle, you're a team that's been in Europe and has started to float down, and now you sit 12th. Questions. So
no, you're absolutely right.
All right, Drew, that's it.
That's it.
We're putting the cap on it. An amazing show. In-depth Super Bowl breakdown. Over to an in-depth footy breakdown. That wraps it up. Sorry, the cold's coming at me at the end. That wraps up the football season for us. Now we put the NFL back away with the college. We'll talk in a couple months come April when the draft starts to come around. Right, cheers. But next week, we are going to hammer the hoops. Like I said, Drew will have his games to watch that he watched and to watch for men's and college basketball. I'm going to break down the top performers on the men's and women's side for both of those. And then we will talk about the Cavaliers and we will talk about the NBA. All-Star break approaching as well. All-Star weekend next weekend. So that'll be great. We'll get to talk about some fun stuff there. Shout out to James Harden, who exploded in the fourth quarter of his first Cavaliers game.
It was looking kind of shaky first 3 quarters, but he came alive and he saved himself.
That's all right. So we'll talk more about that. But for now, that'll do it for us. Drew, final shout outs.
Yes, thank you everyone watching, liking, commenting, however you support the show. I appreciate it. And special shout out, wore it today. Olympics are going on. First 2 gold medalists for the USA. Breezy Johnson, gold in women's downhill alpine skiing, and the USA figure skating team in the team event. A shout out to those guys. First 2 golds of the US. Many more to come. Obviously, we'll probably keep you updated on it, so no worries there.
Yeah, we'll tap in. I've watched luge and men's and women's hockey, curling. What else did I watch? I watched something last night too. Some kind of event where they run in the skis. And some in the round trip, the speed skating. Listen, man, I'm in.
I watched the end of the team figure skating. So I missed the USA gold, but I watched the Italian team. Amazing performance. And then I watched the single freestyle figure skating, and that the things that they can do on blades this thin, absolutely incredible to me. And to make it with the music look so phenomenal, beyond impressive.
I love it. And also, if you need a little help, tune in for Snoop, because Snoop Dogg's there again. Yeah. And that in itself is great. And
the Red Zone guy is doing the updates for the Olympics, which I think is absolutely like one of the best. It is as good of a choice as having the election dude do the playoff chances.
Yes.
After Monday Night Football, like amazing hires on both sides there.
I have one rule and one rule only. If you give me a 4-box, I'm watching it. I don't care what the sport is. So yeah, you give me a 4-box Olympics. Excuse me, I'm dying here at the end of the show. I'm in. Gold Zone is lit. Shout out, friend. Love you and love yours. That is coming. Shout out to Pops. Shout out to Oos. Shout out to Pops again. Shout out to Ray. Shout out to everybody who's been in, liking, loving, commenting, all of that. We appreciate you as much as you seem to love and appreciate us. And as always, please remember to, little bro,
love yours.
Hey, Ken's got fire and a wild hot take. Hey, Andrew's stats make the whole place shake. Hey, laughing loud when your team goes down. Hey, Straub boys run this sports town. Show. This is the Straub Bro Sports Show. Sundays, Mondays, we live for Sports Show.